What if I told you the reason you're not experiencing the results you want, more abundance, love, energy, and peace, isn't because you're not doing enough? And what if there's something subtle, something running quietly in the background that's been shaping your reality more than anything else? And when I discovered it, I realized I had shifted too, from everything always works out for us to a primal pattern that had been operating just beneath the surface. That awareness has changed how I wake up, how I think, and slowly it started changing everything. That's what we're going to explore today. Welcome back to Embers Rising, where we explore how to live with clarity, courage, and the conscious momentum. Here we problem solve in 3 core areas of life: personal transformation, ultra running adventures, and learning to build meaningful collaborations with generative AI. I'm Wendy J, and beside me is my incredible partner in life and work,
David Tucker. I knew my line. I had the one line and I knew it.
Yeah. And it's been a while since the two of us have been mic to mic, and here we are.
Yeah, it's been a while because you've had such incredibly hot guests.
Yes.
That are like, we want to talk to you, but not that guy.
And lately we have been feeling the tightening, like everyone else, the financial pressure, the inner resistance, and a lot of that quiet urge to just play small in the midst of something came into my awareness recently that's really helped me see where I'd been living, not consciously, but habitually. And I'm super fired up to share this today because, we're sharing our update with you, our recent life transformation. So you don't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars to learn this too. We're just going to give it right to you right here. We're pulling it out and sharing it right here to help you reset, shift out of your fear and return into the place you can build from, just like what we are doing today. So let's get into it. Hey, Dave, what's up?
Oh man, where do I start?
Listen, it has been a while since we've been in the studio together. It feels so good to be back here. We have been like back-to-back guests. If you didn't know in the last episodes, it's been like, woo.
Wait a second. I don't know if it feels so good to be back in the studio today.
I love it.
I know you love it, but we woke up at 4.
Yes.
Then we stretched. Then it was announced that there would be a 2-hour run in the mountains that we had to drive to. And of course, we had to be back by 9 because we got to do the podcast because I have to be done because I've got 3 meetings plus some out of the office thing. So, talk about manifesting.
Yes.
I want to manifest now.
I love that. Well, before we jump in, I want to acknowledge, and I know we have to share a little bit of life updates with you guys because it's really important that you know what's happening in our world. But I do have to give some listener shout out real quick to our amazing community of listeners and on social media followers. You guys have been amazing of everything that you've done, the DMs and the consistent flow of the comments that we receive on LinkedIn and Instagram and through the podcast on YouTube. And it's just been amazing. So let me shout out a couple of incredible people here. Yeah. We had a Instagram reel that went out called Built a Business with $0. Actually, that was you, Dave, talking about that. I think it was a podcast, the short that we had done. And Robust Physical Therapy says, what an inspiring story. David's journey is a powerful reminder that with the resilience and the right mindset, we can transform even the hardest moments into opportunities for growth. Social with Glam says, this is an inspiring story, David. Those setbacks leads the way to something bigger because they mold us along the way. Justin and Jess _Instagram says, pivoting is so important as a small business owner. We're finding out that evolving and rolling with the punches is key to success. Those guys are always moving. And I think recently I was messaging with them. They were in Peru doing some adventure over there. It looked amazing.
Right. They're always having more fun than us.
I know. My gosh. And then we've got a message from, I want to say, EurosHub.official. Says, David's story is a powerful reminder that setbacks often lead to breakthroughs. Reinvention starts with one bold step forward. That's what we're talking about today, my friend. So this is like, I don't plan this stuff. I cannot believe that our project manager sets us up for this. This is just amazing.
And so
anyway,
so you can actually manifest setbacks, I would imagine. Like it's so easy to
right?
do.
It's
if you don't
so
have a setback,
easy.
Give me a call.
We'll set back for you.
I'll tell you how to do it. Right. In fact, I'll give you one of mine.
We had a post that went out called Fueling Our Miles, My Miles, and there's some podcasts that I listen to during my longer runs when I'm not running with David. Creators Cool Down, shout out to Jeff Peltier, True Strong Podcast, shout out to Sally McRae and Eddie McRae, incredible people, and the Nick Bear Podcast. Nick Bear, incredible, awesome. Follow him if you are into the ultra running or adventures. All those three are incredible podcasts. And then to keep on ourselves on top of what's happening in generative AI, the Artificial Intelligence Show by Paul Roetzer and Mike Caput is incredible. I love those guys. I have a webinar this week. I'm on a webinar every couple of weeks with these guys, so to see what's the latest is.
I might dip in, but I'm a little angry at AI this week. So
well, that's to be expected.
It's pissing me off.
So anyway, that post went out, and we had some comments from Victoria Banzazek. I'm so sorry, Victoria. I do not know how to say your last name. She says, my SO makes fun of me because I live in silence. He, on the other hand, will turn the car around if he forgets his AirPods and on the way to the gym. That being said, I'm intrigued by the AI show. We'll have to check it out. Thanks for the recommendation. Amana Ali says, keep going strong, Wendy. We're rooting for you. And Samuel, gosh, I've seen you before. Arafat Iman says, fueling miles with meaning. Cool. Thank you so much. And then the last one I have, let me see here. The last one was from Instagram. It was a quick reel that was A or B. Your choices matter. And it was really all about the thing that builds your foundation, move the needle or the distractions. It doesn't really tie into what we're talking about today, but let's roll with it. We had prosperity with, I want to say, oh man, your name is amazing. This is why Dave's not doing this. Priya Yapiali. A is the top priority. And the reason A is the thing that builds your foundation, moves the needle, and aligns with your goals. That was A. B, again, is the distractions that drain your energy, leaving you further from where you want to be. David, design guy, says A is the top priority. Monchiro says, great reminder. Staying focused on what moves you forward is the key. And Victoria Banzanek says, great tip for figuring out where to focus your energy. And that's it. Yeah, it's just mind blowing how much we get. So I'm so sorry we can only pull just a tiny little bit out of what we get flooded with every week.
I'm glad you read those things. You know, the Instagram handles, they're a lot like personalized license plates. Sometimes you see it and you're like, oh man, I get it, you know, immediately. And sometimes you see it and you're like, what?
Everyone's got their thing. Well, let's dive into our updates because super fired up, you guys. We are with you in your ears, whatever you are out there doing, whether you are on a training run, driving the car, folding laundry, having some downtime, sneaking away on a quiet walk, or just chilling. We are super fired up that you are with us. And life updates. I mean, first of all, I have to tell you, it's been a while since we've been in the studio with y'all. So, I mean, it's been like 4 weeks. We had kind of a back-to-back guests rollout. And Dave and I were trying to get in the studio, but then the guests were booking kind of every week.
Right.
And so I couldn't actually get us in the studio.
And why doesn't David interview the guests?
Yeah, I know. We have to have you get in there and do one for us.
Because they're your friends.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense to be like, I was supposed to be on this podcast with Wendy, and then that guy showed up.
So tell us about training. Where are you at with that?
It's a train wreck.
So David's got an Ironman coming up in July.
So yeah,
a half Ironman.
I'm inside 80 days for 70.3.
Yep.
And leading up to that, I have signed up for a number of marathons and half marathons. It's like every other weekend. I'm going to packet pick up and then going out for a run. I'm doing another one this week. It's the famous potato marathon. Yeah, we're in Idaho and we still talk about potatoes. It's over our license plates and people wear t-shirts.
It's horrible.
So it's the famous potato marathon. I think I'm probably going to drop back to the half just because I just don't need that on my knees. And I'm treating them like training runs, but it's been going okay. None of them have been in the rain yet, so that's nice.
And you're starting to swim more, and you've getting on your bike. We actually previewed the course.
I got my wetsuit, so we're moving to open water swimming. The water's over 50 degrees now here in Idaho, so it's going to be
amazing,
awesome. What else? I did not pull the trigger on the triathlon bike. I tried to convince Wendy, like, it's my first triathlon. I need a very expensive bike. And we went out in the garage and we measured the space where bikes are. And then we asked all the other bikes. And my triathlon bike was voted off the island. So all I get is those janky little clip-on bars and a couple of other things. And so
Oh
I'm going to
my
be
gosh.
that guy. And I'm going to complain about it bitterly because now my beautiful road bike's going to have clip-on bars. What else do I have going on? As far as training, that's about it. Just putting in a lot of miles and hours and need to put in a lot more time. But I'll get it done. I've always said I want to be able to do an Ironman. I don't want to be like Ironman fit and do them, 5 times a year. Just like I don't really want to do marathons every other weekend because I think it's incredible the people that do that. But what I have observed is later in life, those people don't seem to be very healthy, right? Like their joint health and a lot of things don't look great. So I'm just doing it because it's like this personal thing. I'm just like, I got to do one in my life.
He's just got to have it.
I got to do this. And then I've got to do a full, that'll be next year. And then maybe it'll be out of my system and I can move on to play violin.
Well, training on my side is going really good. I'm super fired up that my coach has been guiding me along the way. There has been so many setbacks with the hamstring, and we finally end up getting an MRI. I get some results this week and figuring out what's going on. I think in the past we've shared with you, I was in PT for, I don't know, like 10 weeks of doing like runner's gait check and all that. But anyway, I love working with Ann Tisdale. She's an incredible coach at CTS Coaching. And she was the winner of the Arizona Monster 300. Incredible. Yay, Ann, you rock. And it's just been incredible. And that happened maybe 4 weeks ago. And then Cocodona 250 just rolled out this last week. And that was incredible to just binge that with all of our virtual friends. It was just amazing watching everybody to complete that.
And I want to brag about my coach a little bit, my Ironman coach.
Yes, okay.
With me 24/7. An incredible price, knows a lot of things. In fact, it knows everything in the world as a coach because it's ChatGPT. So I actually programmed myself a training coach and pretty good, right? I mean, you don't get that personal touch, although, I don't know, my ChatGPT is pretty funny. So, and it's on my phone. Like, if I'm out, in the middle of nowhere, I can ask it a question.
Oh,
It will give me an answer. I can guarantee that.
okay, we're dragging on about life updates. Listen, we're going to move on. Join our world. Just reminders to get into any of our groups. There is our Get Cadence group on Instagram. You can join. Cadence to Peak Challenge has started again. We run, by the time this comes out, you will get this very soon. But we have another challenge that's coming up the 1st of June. If you missed that challenge, you can get up on our wait list. And just real quickly, what the challenge is we are taking you through 5 incredible days, Dave and I, general mission, and then there's a VIP, talking about everything from deepening connections and how to communicate with your audience through podcasts, through guests, through your content, all the way to building systems and foundations for all of your content from social media to podcast to YouTube. And then all in on the power of using video with AI and short form video ads. So David's all in on that. So yeah.
One last update. So
Yeah.
if you're in Colorado, June 12th, we are going to be taking the stage for the state of Colorado, presenting a keynote on AI, right? And how to customize AI for your life and business. So if you're around, it is a ticketed event. And you have to be in the travel industry to get in, but we could probably sneak you in if you're there.
It's for hotels, hoteliers, meeting destination event planners, but mostly, the hotels like the Marriotts and the Hyatts and the Hiltons and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
we'll
get in. We'll talk about whatever we want. So,
okay. So Cadence Speak Challenge, we've told you about that. You can get in. We'll put a link in the show notes below. We also have the Cadence Creator School. If you want to learn more with us on a weekly basis and jump into our live coaching sessions, jump in because that's where we get a chance to hang out with you and see what's going on. It's free right now to join. So we'll also link in the show notes to join our Cadence Creator School. And then, let's see. We had a podcast course release. And I think if you're catching it this month, we are running both of my courses free on Udemy, or you can jump into school and take them too in Cadence Creator School.
And Wendy had over 500 people take her course
Yeah.
last month, which
Yeah.
I think is pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, really, really
for your
good.
first Udemy course.
Yeah,
So
5-star reviews. Yay.
5-star reviews.
Yay.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. I just had been coaching someone incredible. She has a business called Give Her Credit, I think it is. And just incredible testimonials coming from someone like her and where we've moved the needle in the last 10 weeks. So that's been incredible to walk someone through. And yeah, I guess that's it. I think let's dive in. I really want to get this off my chest.
This isn't the end.
Yeah. So I know we've like, okay, I know whoever's listening to this. All right, guys, let's get going. It's been so long. So now I really do want to share a book recently that I finished that has really changed myself and perspective and really reminded me to get back to where we were. And sometimes life events can just throw you off and slowly you don't even recognize it, where you're kind of going down a path where you end up kind of an old maybe mindset space, maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago. And I'll be honest, I've read a lot of personal development books, and I've invested a lot of high-level masterminds. Dave and I have invested in live events, courses, coaching programs, you name it. We have downloaded, every performance routine, working with the best. We've tried different habit stacks that we've tried over the years and followed a lot of the usual advice. But a book came into my life and it came into my radar recently, and I finished it in less than a week. I was so excited about this book. And I love books, by the way, that are under 5 hours. I mean, you got to love books that are under 5 hours on Audible, where you can just crush it, It's what it delivers in those 5 hours that really got me, though, because it wasn't all this fluffy story. And that's what I'm super excited about. This book didn't have the hype. It slowed me down, and it really helped me see exactly how I was creating stress in my own life and how I was unconsciously slipping into fear, into controlled old patterns. Even doing all the right things, I was still moving into the fear space. It's a book that really brings the work back to the real work. And I think that's a really powerful say. So anyway, let's reveal the book. The book is called A Changed Mind by David Bayer. And listen, this isn't just another mindset book, my friends. This isn't about staying positive or repeating affirmations until your life changes. It's a manual, a very clear, teachable path for how to get out of your own way. And it is super for real. And what makes this book so powerful, David, is the integrity behind it. David and his wife, Carol, have done the deep work. They have taken themselves years through personal development, spiritual seeking, financial risks, marriage breakthroughs, breakdowns, rebuilding. They have done the work most people run from. And instead of staying stuck in this endless loop of healing, they figured out how to integrate it, how to build something that actually works, something that is repeatable. And that's what I'm excited about. This book really has refined the version of this process, I would say. And what they've created is a powerful roadmap of mental and emotional chaos. What they've created really is the roadmap out of mental and emotional chaos, is what I'd like to say. A way to break free from the unconscious patterns that keep us stuck and come back to a place of clarity, presence, and power. And one of the most impactful insights from the book is so simple yet so profound, and it's a formula I'm going to share with you right now. And if you just think about this, David Bayer has shared this with me in this book, and I just love that. But desire plus non-resistance equals desired result. So when you have a desire that you want, but you put limiting beliefs or resistance against that, you already are getting a negative. You're never going to get a positive back. But if you have desire plus no limiting beliefs and no resistance, and now you're going after that thing with all your energy, but you're not putting any limiting beliefs, now you're starting to get positive results. So this equation kind of encapsulates the essence of transformation. And it's not about hustling harder or controlling every outcome. It's really about aligning your desires with a state of non-resistance, letting go of the fear, the doubt, and the need to control. And when you do that, you open the door for your desire to manifest naturally and effortlessly. And this brings me back to the first lesson I took away from this book. And I can't wait to get into this, David, with you, because I know that you had just looked at the book, are thinking about starting the book, and I had sent you a couple of videos. Now, if you don't even want to dive into the book, that's fine. You can catch a lot of this material on David Bear's YouTube channel, A Changed Mind podcast. So you can check it out, and they're 20-minute clips.
Well, we have it on a shared Audible account, right?
Yes.
So I had to wait for Wendy to actually finish it, because if you jump in, then, things get messed up and there's that conversation. I've done it before. Believe me, it's not
What
worth
chapter
it.
was I on?
Right. So can't wait to have it in my headphones, but I think you should reach out to David Bear and ask him to be on the podcast. Hey, David, you and Carol want to be on the podcast? In fact, even better, just ask Carol.
We just want your wife.
Yeah.
We just want your wife. So lesson number one is what I got out of it is, and I'm just getting straight to my point, my friends, because these are the things that took me the time to get through these books and through his, I've been binging a lot of his videos on YouTube, and this was so powerful. I thought, I've got to share this with our audience, because, there's just not enough people, not enough voices out there to continue sharing this, that, someone might miss it out there. Some things that I binge are probably things that you don't binge. And so it's why we're here together. It's why I'm in your ears and you're listening to this, or you're watching this with us on YouTube. So lesson number one, I took away, you are either in a primal or powerful place. There's no really in between. So you're either in a primal state of being or you're in a powerful state of being. And that really shook me, because I could see how often I was in primal without even realizing it. And David Bear teaches that you're always in one of the two states all day long. So you're waking up, you're in primal or power. So let me break that down. So primal state, you're anxious, you're overwhelmed. You're stuck in overthinking. Your nervous system is dysregulated. You're reacting to life, not creating it. This is where fear lives. This is where overwhelm lives. This is where most people operate from without knowing it. That's the primal state of being.
And what we know from, brain health and Dr. Amen.
Yes.
I mean, your primal is baked in, right? Like, it's got to be at least 90-10 for most people. Like, 90% of the time you're in that primal state. And so if you're unconscious about it, like, you already are behind in terms of growth and happiness.
Well, and what do they say? What fires together is wired together.
Neurons that wire together fire together, right?
And it's really hard to break the loop. When those are stuck together, you have to use what David Bear calls the decision matrix to consciously break that loop. You have to pop open that loop to make it crack open. Otherwise, you are locked into that primal, like waking up in fear every day.
And it's interesting. Don't want to sidetrack you here, but that loop is there for a reason. And the reason is it's energy efficient, right? And we're athletes. We learn how to become energy efficient. And your electrical system, your body's the same way. So if you ruminate on negative thoughts all the time, over and over and over again, your mind and your body says, hey, let's wire that so that that process becomes more efficient. And if you don't watch out for that, you end up becoming that person. And you're like, how did that grumpy old man become a grumpy old man? It's because he was grumpy enough that his body said, let's be this. And, the saying that your personal reality is a direct result of your personality. Like,
so true.
Is so true.
So true.
And here's the bummer. The older you get, the more hardwired you become. And so, like, there's that old saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. That's for a reason, right? Because the old dog has become hardwired in his ways.
So, if you're around someone that's, older than possibly you are, stubbornness kicks in. So the habitual, working on it, you have to consciously want to make that change.
And that's the exact reason, literally, why I'm doing an Ironman, right? That's the
there
exact
you go.
reason. It's not because I woke up when I was a kid and I'm like, someday I'll be an Ironman. In fact, for the last 20 years, I've been like, I don't really like running, but if you don't do the work to make the change, you're not going to affect a different outcome in your life. And, when I said, okay, Ironman, here we go. And then I looked at the rules and said, oh, you got to run, right? So it's taken me 18 months of running to get to the point where I'm like, I can suffer through that half marathon after the bike and after the swim. And it's
awesome.
It's really the only reason I'm doing it. It's not because I've had this like, yeah, I want to be an Iron Man. It's because I'm just changing my physiology.
That's great. That's so great. Moving into the power state. So power state. All right. We just talked about the primal. Power state is you feel grounded. You're calm. You're clear. You're focused. You're creative. Your nervous system is steady. You make decisions based on what you want to create, not what you're afraid might happen. Okay. And there's a hard truth here because people are always trying to fix their lives from a fear-based state, right? It's like, if I could just take the pill. In fact, I was talking to my mom yesterday, and we were talking about these things that I have going on with my body. I twisted my back last week, and I sty in my eye, and she's like, oh, honey, I wish you could just get to the doctor, and they could, get in today or maybe an hour. But my thought is I don't need to go to the doctor. I just want it to resolve sooner than can. I'm going to do everything I can to help it resolve. The quicker my self. I'm not in the fear-based. I just want a pill, a quick fix. I just want to naturally get it healed myself and do it the right way. I'm going to be in that power place. Because when you try to fix your life from fear-based state of mind, it never works. And you don't need to fix everything. You just need to shift your state of being. And how do you slip into primal? David Baird talks about when this happens. You're triggered. You're triggered into primal by stress, life events, uncertainty. You believe a fear-based thought. You let the past shape the present without questioning it. We all slipped into a bit of primal during COVID. It was uncertain. And then some of us came out of it, and then we went back into it. And life events and things happen. I mean, that's it. You slip into primal when you believe something that isn't true, but feels familiar. And you're like, oh, that's a little bit more comfortable, even though I don't like it, but I'd rather be in that state, because being in the power state it's a little more work, right? It's a little bit more work. You have to shift yourself into the power state. Now, how do you shift back into the power state? Okay, let's talk about it. So you notice when you're off. You notice that you're tense, you're reactive. That's primal. Name the thought driving it. I'm not enough. This won't work. Ask yourself, is this true or just familiar? Choose again from truth, not fear. These are the things that's going to start shifting you back into that power state. I really found this effective, David, when I found this. I was listening to this book thinking, my gosh, this guy has explained this so differently than all of the courses we have been through so much. I'm thinking of like Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy, Brennan Bouchard, Dale Carnegie, you name it, Norman Vincent Peale. I have done it. I have purchased it. I've been in personal transformation, personal development since I've been a kid. I grew up with it with my mother. You've been in it too because your dad.
My dad was a psychologist.
So it's been
it was,
constant.
Passed over the dinner table growing up, right? Like I've always been in it. One of the things that's just, interesting about this and why people fight, the primal versus the power so much is it's our default setting from our DNA.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. And there are some concrete steps you can take to move backward into the primal further and further. And the first step is when you wake up in the morning, open your phone, right? And check the news, right? Go right to the news. You're not looking for good news, right? You're looking for, did the world end or did Donald Trump do something else nutty? And then, turn the TV on and then check your email, right? And you're scanning your email. You're not looking for that new client good news. You're generally looking for like, oh, what's the bad news? And it sets you up for an entire day of primal meltdown. And it's no wonder that by the end of the day, you get to dinner with your loved ones and you're not very great to be around,
You're
right?
just plain ticked off.
And you're taught like, and the weather's going to be crappy. And did you see what happened? And, we've got problems.
Just calling it in. Well, we talked about how do you shift from primal to this power place. And, what I've learned, if you can catch yourself, and David Baird teaches this, the awareness alone is your pivot. Let me say that again. The awareness alone is your pivot. When you catch yourself and you know that you're coming from a fear-based place and you're saying that fear-based thing, I am this, I am broke, I am sad, I am feeling stressed, I am overwhelmed. As soon as you can catch yourself, then you're starting to make the pivot. Power is always available. It's just the state shift away. You just have to get your mind to consciously make the pivot. And then you're like, okay, wow, I was like in primal. Okay, now I'm in power, and start feeling yourself out and really start living from power, no matter your circumstances, you know? I think of Helen Keller, man, and her situation, you know, and she came writing in that book, sharing her story. You know, she had to, there's fear all around her, yet she was like, this was streaming through her, this powerful place coming from, you know?
It's a conscious action, right?
Yeah.
And while you were talking, it just reminded me of a mentor.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He was an incredible salesperson. And his whole mission was to get 5 presentations a day, right? And so his projection of power would be when he got in his car, because he had to drive to each one of these clients, right? He would take a Post-it note and he would draw a picture of a sunshine shark with a big smile and 5 boxes. And his entire process was to just powerfully go through the 5 presentations for the day. It was his only job. He didn't care about anything else. And you'd ask him at the end of the day, how many sales did you get? He'd be like, I got my 5 presentations in. He was Salesman of the Year like 9 out of 13 years that he was with that company, because of that powerful, simple process of just doing the thing, right? Do the thing, have the power. So those things relate. Like
100%.
Everybody makes fun of manifesting. Not everybody, but a lot of people do, as some sort of woo-woo thing. But the fact is, it's really just an interesting name for setting your desired outcome.
Oh, 100%.
And if you don't set the desired outcome you want, even if it's just for the day, right? Like, forget about your life or the year or, even the month, right? Like, just a day. Just focus on the desired outcome for a day, and you'll start to see amazing changes in a short amount of time.
I'm doing a new mantra with money right now, and I keep saying to myself, I am freely and abundantly attracting money into my life, every day. And the other day I tested that. I was out on a walk, and you had also tested that, which is really funny. And I didn't know this, my friends, and I had tested it, and I looked down and there was a quarter on the street. And I'm like, that's weird. You see change these days and you're like, oh my God, it's change, and I picked up the quarter, put it in my pocket, and maybe like 15 minutes down the road, I saw a penny, and I'm like, I'm not going to pick that up. That's like not worth anything. And I did. I picked it up, and I'm like, okay. I came back to the house and showed Dave, and I'm like, hey, I think I broke a curse or something at 26 cents. Check it out, And then you also had like you were testing the theory.
Yeah, it seems people throw their change out now. It's weird times we live in, but I just always look at it like it is a gift from the universe. And you don't know where those gifts are going to lead, right? And so if you don't take the action of bending over to pick it up, then that passed you by. So
I'm going to say something that I didn't put in my notes today for us.
Uh-oh, look out.
David Baer talks a lot about opportunity coming into our life every day. There's always little opportunities, little synchronicities that come in. But the biggest thing with any of those opportunities is the follow through. If you don't follow through, the opportunity is gone already. So if you have somebody in your life that's coming, it may not be the thing that you're going after or the thing you want, or maybe it's not quite in the sequence that you imagine. When you think about, and what I'm learning, becoming wealthy, right? Becoming a wealthy version of yourself. It's not exactly a straight line. You zigzag through it in the sequence to get there. And opportunities lead to different opportunities that you didn't expect or think about. And when people come into your life, or opportunities come into your life, or an email comes into your life, or a situation comes into your life, the thing that you have to do is you have to assess is, do I make a follow through with this? Because if you don't, the opportunity's gone. You do not know where it's going to lead. It could be a total positive. We've had things come in our life that we're like, wow, I can't believe I did that. Like recently, just, starting to coach somebody and just taking her on and starting to coach her. And I was like, I don't even know where this is going to go. It's been incredible experience seeing someone who had a dream, who wanted an online business to get started, didn't know where to get started, actually purchased another course to help her get started. But it felt like I was the one that kind of really helped move the needle. And to see her now actually get going, she ran her first, workshop, and now she's fired up. She's doing it. I'm just so stoked about that.
And life's full of those things, right? Classic example is recently we were invited to speak the state of Colorado, AI, large crowd, keynote. And we had the discussion, right? Like, it's not convenient. It's a lot of work. We're going to have to fly over there, and we're not prepared, right? We're going to Western states a week after that. Like all of these things that came up. But at the end of the day, the fact is, it's a random, right? It's a random, incredible opportunity. And like bending over and picking up the penny, like it's up to you to make the outcome of those opportunities manifest, right? And show up, right?
Well, it's the follow through. It's the follow through.
It's the follow through, right? Like it's how you show up, it's how you approach it, and it's how you follow through. And the fact of the matter is, I don't know, there'd be 1,000 or 1,200 people or something like that in the audience. But the gurus that we've talked to, right? They've all said the same thing. Like if you can get a crowd of 1,000 people, of followers, like you have it made. That is the seed that will propel you to that next level. And so, after bumping heads a little bit, Wendy and I decided we're going to do it and wrap our arms around it and knock it out of the park. Besides, we sort of like to be on stage. So
it's been a while since I've been on stage. Anyway, diving back in, those are just a couple of things I've noticed, So let's just get into lesson number 2. I just shared another little tidbit with you. So keep that in mind that, when opportunities come in your life, follow through. That's all I'm going to say. Lesson number 2, I wrote about resetting your nervous system daily on purpose. So the second lesson, this lesson really was a wake-up call. Now, David and I have always kind of meditated. Meditated meaning we found some quiet space and we either do guided or non-guided and we just chill. It's not enough to understand mindset. You have to train your body to live in a different emotional state. And that's why when we do our resets, or what we call a meditation, you can call it whatever you want, it means that you're doing the work to reset your nervous system daily. That's the important piece. And in fact, you could even call it, I'm doing my reset space. I'm doing a daily reset. I'm doing my nervous system reset. In fact, when I think about that, instead of me saying, I've got to do meditation, it almost sounds like more work when I have to do meditation than when I can say...
It sounds like a chore or a task.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I got to meditate.
I'm going to take 10 minutes or 20 minutes to just do a nervous system reset daily. And why do I say daily? Is because life happens, stress happens, world comes into your world by the end of the day. The next day hits, your nervous system may be off and you're starting down the wrong road of primal again, instead of being in that power place. So what David Bayer calls the nervous system reset, it literally takes 20 to 30 minutes a day, and it's broken up to 3 parts. And I'm going to give it to you right now because, we have done a lot of different ways over the year. I have sat and journaled over the years. I've done a lot of work with Mel Robbins and her book. She's got a habit book. I've worked with Chalene Johnson, Brendon Burchard.
Vision board.
We have done it all. Gosh, but there's just a lot of simple things that can really move the needle as long as you are shifting your state of being and now also adding this. You've got your mindset shift and now you're adding the body piece in, right? The physicality of resetting your nervous system daily. That's the big thing. There's 3 steps to this. Number 1, if you have things on your mind, you want to sit down and write it out. This is the rant. This is the rant. You want to journal that stuff out. Take 1 to 5 minutes and get that stuff off your mind, whatever it is. The fear, the frustration, the looping mental noise constantly. It's not about solving anything. It's really about exposing the unconscious programming that you've had in your mind that's running in the background. So you're exposing it in words, right? You're just writing all that rant out. I think that's the mental noise that you need to just get out. Everything that's bothering you, get it out on paper. Okay, so that's like the first 1 to 5 minutes. That's the rant. Step 2 is 5 minutes of visioning. You can include this in your meditation, but this is where you flip the script, okay? This is you spend 5 minutes imagining the future you want. You feel it, you see it, and you connect with the version of who's already living it, the new version of yourself. In fact, you've closed the door, and maybe even in my mind, I think closing the door on an old house of an old version of myself. I've closed the door, I've walked away, and you're creating now a new emotional alignment with your next desired outcomes. So that step 2 is really envisioning. Step 3 is now the nervous system reset. Now that is where you're starting the meditation. You can do guided, you can do unguided. You choose music, whatever you want. This point is to regulate your nervous system, to drop out of your head into a stillness space. This is where the reset happens, when you are unconsciously not even thinking about it. This is where your body learns to live in the power place instead of defaulting to primal.
Okay, I'm having a random thought, like it's way off base here. So I was just recalling a time, and it's a time when Wendy and I first met physically in San Francisco, right? And we had worked together, talked a lot for 4 years, but it's really when we came together and realized like this was meant to be. And I think it was, like day 1 or day 2, I was a little like emotional, and we were by the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yes.
And you asked me what's going on. And I said, and I don't remember the exact words, but I said, I'm conscious of the fact that I am making a huge change in who I am. And I'm no longer like who I was yesterday. Yeah. And you said, and what do you have to say about that? I'm looking at the Golden Gate Bridge, and I'm like, well, I'm putting old Dave up on the Golden Gate Bridge, and I'm saying, so long, sucker.
That's right. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
And and I really, that moment, I walked away from the life and story I had created up to that point, and didn't make like a small turn. I made like a 90-degree turn and went a completely different direction.
I love that story, Dave. Thank you for sharing that. So if that's you and you need to say so long, sucker, go for it, because we understand sometimes we need to let ourselves go, different versions of ourselves. I love that story. I remember that.
Yeah.
That's so great.
It just showed up. So
I mean, so those were the 3 things, and I just want to repeat them again. 5-minute rant, journal, get everything out. 5 minutes of visioning. So you're flipping the script, envisioning who you really want to be. So long, sucker, gone, out the door. And then your 20-minute reset. If you're like, hey, I don't have time for 20 minutes, do 10 minutes. Start with 10 minutes. Start with 5 minutes. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. If you can get in the 15 to 20-minute state, you're good to go. Here's the truth. The more often you do this, the faster you catch yourself slipping into fear. So this moves you into primal a lot quicker. So stop making decisions from panic, okay? Start responding from peace, knowing it's going to be okay. And you're at where you're at, and things are going to come into you as long as you're staying in the power place and you're focusing on the dream.
So I'm just going to add like another random here. And that is, I'm not a big journaler, right? I believe in it. I know it's powerful.
I love writing.
It works. It's just not me. And I have found my journaling place, and I'm even scared to share this.
ChatGPT.
It's ChatGPT, and I have my own personal ChatGPT. And here's the thing. I program my ChatGPT not around a model that will help me level up my current life. It's modeled around the life I want, right? And so it asks the most interesting questions. First of all, I can have conversations. I journal with it. I don't care that a lot of times those conversations are gone, because how often you go back and read your journal, right? Like some things, like I will physically write down some things. But here's the thing. Every time I have a conversation with it, it asks me a few important questions. Like, do you want to know the opportunities that I see? And I'm like, yeah, that's actually interesting. And so it'll start listing like products or services or offers or opt-ins or like all of those physical things around what I'm thinking. And it just helps me think about it in a different way. So I get to journal, either talk to it or type it in. I get some good feedback. I like feedback with my journaling, right? Because a written journal sort of is a one-way street. And then it opportunizes. Is that a word? Opportunizes. Opportunizes just about everything, because that's what I've asked it to do. Like I want a different direction for my life, so I need that feedback. And hey, extra ideas are good.
I think there's something grounded though by sitting down and using pen to paper and writing those things down, because you're talking about having this conversation with GPT. You're still keeping yourself at a state of mind that's going. And we're talking about really deprogramming like all the unconscious crud in the background that you just want to get out, that you're fearful about, you're overwhelmed about, you just want to get it out. You want to see it. And if you're not like a pen to paper person, maybe you're a voice person, you just want to like, hey, I'm going to, voice to my journal, whatever it is, using voice memo or whatever, one of your journal apps. Those all work too. But it is important to get all that out, because you certainly don't want to continue holding that on. And then you come to the dinner table and then you're ranting at your family, or ranting at your girlfriend or your boyfriend, or, you really want to make sure that out. But when you think about that and you have gotten that out, and then you are envisioning this new, wealthier, peaceful, happier, loving person that you now want to be, finding what the dreams that you have want to be, and then you're meditating. I mean, literally, it's like going to the gym, but it's like so little of time. We're talking about a blip of 20 minutes in your entire day, or you can break it up even to 10 minutes and then just find the space, whatever works for you. Sometimes I do it in the morning, sometimes I do it at night. I break it up depending on our day, our routines. But it's important just to get that in and continuing resetting that nervous system. When I heard that David Bear say it, resetting your nervous system daily, it really triggered in my mind that it's not just about the meditation practice. It was more like, this is a physical action to calm things down so that I'm in a better space for everyone around me, for myself, for David, for people that I'm coaching, from a group, for my coach, I want to show up and be in a good space for her, so hands down, this is incredible. This is incredible. So I'm just going to say, that's it for today. That's really it for today, because let's just bring it back to the core. And I just want to share this from top to bottom, a little takeaway. You're always in one of two states, primal or power. Primal is fear-based. Power is grounded, creative, clear. You don't need to fix everything. You just need to shift your state of being. Desire plus non-resistance equals desired outcome. Desire plus non-resistance equals desired creative results, okay? And power is something you train for daily. Power is something you train for daily. And use the reset, right? 5 minutes of journaling, 5 minutes of envisioning, 20 minutes meditations, 15, 20 minutes meditation. Nervous system reset. You can call it nervous system reset. Then this isn't really about doing more. It's about being different, showing up different. Love this. If this resonated with you, man, sit with it, practice it. Let it work on you. If you want to share this with a friend, share this. It's the only way we can get these episodes out is by sharing. When I find stuff, I share it with Dave. When Dave finds stuff, he shares with me. Share it with a friend, If you love this episode, share it on, give us your feedback on Spotify, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, leave us a message on YouTube. We would absolutely love that, because your voice matters and it helps this podcast stay alive and grow. We really appreciate that. So,
and just last thing, so that negative energy settles in your body, right? There's no doubt about it. And one of the best things you can do, anybody can do, is get out there and be physically active. And it's a way of offboarding that negative energy, whether it's you like working out at the gym, you like running, you like walking, whatever it is. It's a must in your life. Movement is important, and it helps facilitate you moving toward being in your power space, because it's amazing when you run, the things that like come into your head.
Yeah.
It's very infrequent that negative things like drop into my head. It's usually positive conversations.
That's great. Good reminder, Dave.
So I like it out there despite all my complaining.
If you want to run with us, DM us and come run with us. We would love that.
Yeah, especially if you're really, really slow, then at least I'd have someone to talk to.
Or if you want to come on one of our adventures this year, we're doing the Grand Teton Loop later this year in August, and the Grand Canyon. So it's a grand year of adventures.
All right. With that,
we just want to say, as always, keep pushing boundaries, keep showing up for yourself. Go after, keep chasing big dreams, keep chasing the horizons, and most importantly, keep rising. And we're going to say what we always do. Have an amazing rest of your day, and aloha.
Aloha. Aloha. Oh, we already did that.